I've been a sports coach for a very large number of years, and my mum used to run a daycare centre many moons ago, and so I've always grown up with kids and have a real passion about kids and getting them active and involved in sport. I also see things from the other side as well. I chair a local school board of trustees, and for the last couple of years preceding this year, I was director of junior rugby at Silverdale Rugby Club, which is the second largest junior rugby club in New Zealand. So some of the things I'll talk about today will come from lots of different angles. So yeah, all right. So I'm hoping sort of through here we're going to answer sort of three main questions: how sport and physical activity can impact a child's development and self-esteem, why is sport and physical activity so important, and what life skills can we learn from sport. Okay, some of the challenges today, and as I said before, I see things through a few different eyes. So if any teachers in here, I'm not necessarily referring to schools on the Hibiscus Coast or sports clubs here through some of these things, but this is some general information in regards to New Zealand. So the challenges we have in schools: increased paperwork, falling number of male teachers, changing teacher attitudes to managing and coaching school sporting teams, increase in the range of curriculum programs that have been run throughout the year, and national standards. Teacher focus on numeracy and literacy. And I mean, that's a big one. And unless you've got a really strong leadership team at a school, what we're finding at a lot of places around New Zealand, that things like sport and the arts and music are missing out because schools don't want to deem to be being a failing school. And we're going to see some pretty big steps and strides, I think, that Sport New Zealand's going to be trying to make in the next few years in regards to trying to tidy some of these things up. But obviously that's going to rely on the Ministry of Education agreeing to that as well. So yeah, I think that's a really big one. Club, some of the challenges: lack of volunteers, especially at junior level, a reliance on parents to sign children up for club sport and to get them there for practices and games, a lack of coaching materials for volunteer coaches, and a reliance on a few volunteers to run an entire club. Again, I think a number of things in there that any of us that have associated with sports clubs can attest to. Then we look at some of the challenges for parents. We're all very time poor. I don't know anyone these days that isn't time poor. A financial burden with costs for sport, the travel costs and time, juggling multiple children's needs and our own needs, and obviously work commitments. People are working longer and longer now, which throws an impact on things as well. Why is sport and physical activity so important? School and bookwork, as Julie said before, isn't for everyone. There's some kids out there that really need to express themselves and might be really talented at sport. Some kids out there are told at home that they're not very good. Then if they're told at school that they're below the standard and so forth, there's not too many inspiring things for them. So, you know, sport is a wonderful way for those kids to get out there and feel good about themselves. Kids need physical activity. I mean, I suppose any of you teachers that sort of appreciate sport for what it is know that the learning outcomes for kids when they've been out and done some physical activity is a lot better. Boys need to burn testosterone, and then they're going to be a lot better and more attentive in the classroom. It helps greatly with self-esteem. It provides a way to channel aggression. Again, something really important for kids, being able to get out there and run and channel those aggressions in the right areas. Sports provides children with the opportunities to try new skills and assess their capabilities. Research shows that children and youth who are involved in sport are less likely to be depressed and anxious. Also in regards to drugs and alcohol later on in life. Sport helps learn leadership skills, team building skills and communication skills that will help in school, future career and personal relationships. Not to mention the burden on the health system in years to come. Children who participate in sport get praise and encouragement from coaches and parents, which helps build self-confidence. They also learn to trust their own abilities and to push themselves. Constructive criticism is a major part of sports participation. And obviously I'm a great believer of team sports. It's great for kids to get involved in any sport, but team sports in particular does a whole lot more, as well as all those other things. It's the social interaction, It's the physical fitness and a sense of accomplishment. Teaches kids why teamwork is important, which can be helpful when they're an adult and may work as part of a team. Participating in a team sport can also give your child the opportunity to learn about how to be a good leader and communicator. Again, all valuable life lessons. They're not sports lessons, but we're just using the sports field and sports environment to learn valuable life lessons. Teaches empathy. It's a real big one. What can parents do? I'm often asked and challenged by parents that sort of say, oh, I don't want to take my kid out for doing sport, and say, what if I do it wrong? At the end of the day, just getting out there and spending time with your kids. If you ask most children what they'd like to do with their parents, it's just to spend some time with them. But if you can go out there and throw or catch or kick a ball, even if you're not sporty yourself, you actually don't realise the impact that you're having on your child by doing that. So just get out there and throw and catch a ball with them. Doesn't matter, they're not going to be judgmental on what you're doing. Praise and encourage them to get active and play sport. And let them be kids. I'm a great believer. We wrap our kids up in cotton wool in this day and age, and we don't want them to be taking risks when they're behind the car, or, as someone said before, stepping out in front of a road not knowing the distances. Let them climb trees. Let them know what their boundaries are. That at the end of the day, if we just keep wrapping them up and not letting them exposed to things, then they're gonna try those things later on in life. I've just got a couple of success stories here, and they're related to Kelly Sports, and that's where I've got them from. But just look at them for just the impact of these first couple here of people adults that have seen what a good coach or a good environment can do for kids there. Billy Graham's a motivational speaker, and he went down and viewed one of our sessions in Porirua a couple of years ago, and just spoke about the impact that it had for the kids and the staff. And then Mills Molina ran some sessions for us in Waikato about 3 or 4 years ago, and just put that nice little testimonial there. And then just over here I've got 3 live examples where parents have feedback, and again look at them in the lights of what it is and the impact that it's had on these 3 parents and their children because they've been active and involved in sport. Everyone can read that all right? All right, and I'll just finish off with a couple of things. So I think it's quite common for sports clubs to want to get kids to specialise in certain sports right from a young age. You shouldn't actually start specialising in a sport, research suggests, until you're about 14 years of age. And so I think that's really important, that kids get a variety of lots of different sports, learning lots of different skills. 2 famous basketball stories. I heard a guy come over and talk a few years ago in Waitakere. His name was called Bob Bigelow, and he couldn't make his college basketball team all the way through America. And he was this big gangly guy, and he was just, even at 18 years of age, he could not make his college basketball team. He went on to play over 100 games for the Boston Celtics in the NBA, the best competition in the world. And Michael Jordan, who's probably still regarded as the best basketball ever, couldn't make his college basketball team, or he got dropped from his college basketball team because he wasn't good enough. So at the end of the day, there's no substitute for hard work, if you get out there and work hard, then you'll get the lollies in the end.